What is Oola? It's a dynamic system that has the power to help change your life for the better. Stay tuned for this fun interview with Dr. Dave Braun, co-founder of Oola, to find out more. What superhero do you relate to most? I'm so curious. Why? Each of us has our own innate nuclear power. It's God-given. And yet we're all out here wondering, searching, forgetting, and suppressing. I know I was. It's okay, no judgments here. But I am going to get real. As a life and career coach, it's kind of my job. And you chose the show, so no one is forcing you. But the force is real. And the question I really want to ask is, what's your superpower? I'm Sharon Davenport. I've been called a real-life Wonder Woman. This show is designed to activate you alongside other superheroes. It's time that you arise, put your cape on, and fly. Welcome, my friends. It's an honor to introduce you to my friend and big brother from another mother, Dr. Dave Braun, also known as the OolaSeeker. Dave is the co-author of the best-selling book, Oola, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World, along with co-author Dr. Troy Amdahl, who I also interviewed here on a previous interview, so go check out that episode too. Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy are also the co-founders of Oola Global, the mind and body company, and have helped people transform their lives all over the world for the past 10 years now. I bet you had your smart energy Oola shot this morning, Dave, as it's a little early for you, but thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us this morning. Excited to have you here.
I love it.
So, what were you saying?
I said, I love that introduction, brother from another mother. I'll go with that one.
Big brother from another mother. I got to throw that one in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Well, I know that we've gotten to know each other over the last couple of years, and I do feel like you're a big brother. So that's really truly how I feel. So, all right. Well, Dave, we're definitely going to get into Oola for sure, but there's two questions that I ask all of my guests on here. So I'm going to take you a little bit outside of your box. So I'm here, so who is your favorite superhero and why?
That's super funny because as you were introducing me, I'm like, oh no, she's going to ask me that. I have no idea. Like, I'm not even into superhero movies, but I'm trying to think through who. I was actually thinking of this during the introduction. I'm like, who could this possibly be? Mm-hmm. And I'm a little stumped on it. I'm going to go with Thor.
Oh, okay.
Just because I'm going to go with Thor and Iron Man because I love the tech side of Iron Man. Very clever. Mm-hmm. I love the sciencey side of him, but I'm going to go with Thor just because it's just so cool.
Thor is cool. And, I know you and I know how much you love to work out and be strong. And so that actually doesn't surprise me at all. And then with Iron Man, because you're behind the scenes of Oola, you get to get into the nitty gritty and you're always tinkering and you're always thinking and you can't sleep. I definitely can see Iron Man too.
I get that. And I was going to say Batman and Robin because of Troy and I, but I wouldn't know who was Batman, who was Robin. So I'm going to leave that one out.
Oh, there we go. That would be funny. Oh, we could have a debate on that one with you guys. Awesome. Okay. So next question I always ask is, what would you say is your superpower and how do you use it on your day to day?
I know my superpower for sure. And it's something that I feel like I was born with and possibly cultivated over time. And it's purely positivity and optimism. It's something that I've always had. It's to the point of driving people crazy because I'm always happy, always positive, always optimistic. And I know some people that can appear happy and appear positive and optimistic really are struggling inside. And for me, it's very, very authentic. Even when I was going through tough times in my life, whether it was going through a divorce or going through a bankruptcy in my life, I did in 2007, 2008, I actually was fairly positive. Troy said, how can you be happy every day with everything you're going through? And I just always had that positive and optimistic outlook. So I'm grateful that I was born with that because I feel like I've had that forever. But that's been a huge thing for me with starting multiple businesses and going through life, raising 5 kids. All that is to really have that optimistic, positive outlook on things. So that's definitely my superpower.
I love it. And I would say that I can 100% attest to that and getting to know you over the last couple of years too. And what's beautiful is, that whenever anybody comes to talk with you, they can know that they're going to be, that they're going to have that, and that you're contagious with that too. And that's one reason why I think people are drawn to you, is because you have that contagious and wonderful energy that people need, especially when things are tough, and especially and you can empathize with them. So you have that positivity and that energy, but you're also able to empathize because of what you've gone through. And we will get into that a little bit more here. As there are some of those that are listening and watching this as well who may have no idea what Oola is. Can you please share with us, what is Oola?
Oola is about balancing your life in 7 key areas. I've learned this from Dr. Troy in 1997. I was a young guy, graduated with my chiropractic degree. He took me to Vegas and he taught me this system. He said, it's really not a secret to living a balanced life. There's a system to living a balanced life. And it's about balancing these 7 key areas: fitness, finance, family, field, which is your career, faith, friends, and fun. And that is something. So Sharon knows me very well from, I'm optimistic and positive, but I need a system to actually do work. I need a system to work out. I need a system to actually work on my life. So for me, it's the beautiful part of Oola is that it's purely a system. It's a framework that anybody can work through to find more balance, growth, and purpose in life.
I love it. And I think if we all look at our lives, we would all agree we need systems, because with life, so many distractions nowadays, and social media and all the things that pull us in so many different directions, and the negativity that's associated with some of those platforms, it can be associated with some of those platforms too. We need the positivity and the systems to keep us on track in our lives in all of the key areas you mentioned. So Oola is fantastic. So you have an incredible story about how you had it all: the big house, the fancy cars, the great job, then how you lost it all, and then what it took for you to get from where you are now, from there to where you are now. Can you please share with our friends listening a little bit about your story and how it stepped into what you're called to be and do today?
Yeah, it really picks up from Dr. Troy teaching me this system about balancing and growing your life in these 7 key areas. And when I started to implement that in my 20s, I found success, like Sharon said: married, kids, career, truly living a balanced and growing life in all 7 key areas. And then I found myself in 2007, 8, 9, going through the financial crash of 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself going through a divorce at that time and truly losing everything, and living on a motel on the bad side of town, bankrupt, divorced, stressed out, an eye twitch that I had for about a year because of all this. It was crazy. It was total craziness. And I reached out to Dr. Troy at this time, and he was fully retired. He retired at 42, married to his high school sweetheart, great kids, traveling the world, really living his Oola life. And I was living in a motel on the bad side of town. Mm-hmm. And he's like, man, how did you get here? And I'm like, I don't know. I quit doing that Oola thing when I got successful. I just drifted from these principles, and I found myself at the bottom. And I told him at that time, he goes, put Oola back into your life and let's work on this together as a buddy. I'll be your accountability partner and coach. And as I started working on my Oola life, I said, if this works for me, we're going to share this with the world. And I wrote it down. I have the notebook right in front of me. It says, be a visionary leader, educator, entertainer, facilitator of Oola around the world. And I said, if this Oola thing works for me, I'm going to share Oola with the world. And 2012, 10 years ago, my life was much better. We wrote the first book, and from there, it's kind of history. 3 international best-selling books, over 1 million people following Oola, tattoos of Oola on people's bodies all over the world, and people just saying like, hey, there's a better way to live my life, and I want to use this framework and this system to build the life of my dreams. And that's what I've done in my 20s. I lost that in my 30s. I got back to that in my 40s, and now I'm entering my 50s right now in just such a much better place than I've ever been in my life.
That's incredible. And you've made an impact in people's lives when they are tattooing ink on their body for
100%. The first time I saw that, I almost fell over. Now it happens like every 1 to 2 weeks. And it's really cool that Oolas inspire them or help change their life or transform their life to a point where they would tattoo a brand on their body. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
100%, 100%. And I know, so the Oola, part of the brand is the Oola bus, and you guys have traveled all over the United States collecting people's dreams. And can you share just a little bit about the impact that that's had on you as you have traveled around and watched people, their experience when they're putting their dream on the bus as well?
That's a great question, because I'm always asked, like, tell me some stories from the bus of people you met, how it's impacted them. I've never been asked, I don't think, how it's impacted me. And to tell you the truth, it is absolutely one of my favorite things I have ever done and ever still do, is getting on the bus and traveling across the country. It's a 1970 Vita bus, nothing glamorous, no air, no heat, little tiny motor. It breaks down all the time, but we've driven that to 48 states, many states, multiple times, and collecting dreams, getting to know people in small towns across America, the culture, the food, and really collecting people's dreams and saying, you're designed for greatness and a purpose. What do you want to achieve in your life? And so many times people don't know. And they sit there for a while, many times with tears in their eyes. But once they write down something, whether it be a better dad, or, finally chase that career I've always dreamed of, or pay off my debt, or forgive myself, less guilt, whatever that is. And they put that on the bus with that collective energy of all the dreams we've collected around the world. It's just the most special thing I've ever done. And I really feel like at my last breath, I will look back at the moments on the bus as some of the most special work I've ever done. It's most special thing I've ever been part of, for sure.
100%. So and I just know you, and I know how deep you feel. And so that's one reason why I wanted to ask that, is because I know it's impacted you in a positive way. And I love how at the end of your life, you're going to look back, and that's going to probably be one of the big things that you see. So I love that. So how can those that are listening, who maybe seeking themselves, like looking for balance, how can they actually plug in to Oola? How can they plug into this incredible system to help to positively impact and change their lives?
I think there's three ways. I think one is just connecting with the community. The fastest, easiest way is connecting with the community on social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Twitter. That's so easy, just to connect. I think in Oola, I'm going to rephrase and say, I know in Oola, we have one of the best communities on the planet of support, non-judgment, helping people truly live their best lives. It's something that I didn't see happening and organically grew. And I wouldn't say proud of it. I'm very humble that we have this community that we have. It's incredible. Number two, just going to OolaLife.com and checking that out, getting a book. Would be the number two way, going to OolaLife.com, getting a book. And then the other way is actually going through the digital framework. So if someone's like, man, I really need a community, go and start following Oola. If they're like, man, I really start to need to learn a system, grab the book. And if you're like, man, it's time for me for change. It's time for me to really go all in on myself and transform my life, find more balance, pay off debt, whatever that is that you're going through. Then I would just get right into the digital framework and start really putting your life through what's called the blueprint, and into your dashboard, where you learn my breakthrough experience and my personalized path.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, so many ways. And guys listening, you can feel free to reach out to me, because I am definitely a part of the Oola community. I'd love to help you on your journey. I've had the honor of working with Dave and Troy and the whole community for a while. So I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to help you on that process as well. So put that little plug in there while we're going along.
We should totally flip the script, and I should be interviewing you. Premier coaches and ambassadors in Oola here in Oola world. That's how we should do this.
Oh, right. Maybe on the next one.
You ready? Next time.
Next time for sure. Yeah. So as you kind of going back to the bus, and you've traveled around the US, and I did ask you about what you experienced, but also, like, can you share with those listening? We love stories on here. Can you share one of the most incredible stories that you experienced on the road? Something that really, really hit home. Like, I know there's so many you could choose from, but something you'd share with those listening about what you experienced.
Man, that is a great question. There's so many stories from the road. I just was pulling up old video, and there's a video of us driving across Alligator Alley in Florida and some guy chasing us down in his pickup truck. And I was on Facebook Live at the time, ironically. So I was able to capture a lot of this. And he was chasing us down, came up beside us, asked us what this bus is all about. Troy was yelling at him, saying, it's about hope. It's about, your dreams. And the guy drove off. And then we saw the guy stop us. And I was on Facebook Live and I said, okay, guys, we might get murdered here, like on Alligator Alley, pickup truck chasing us down. And a big bearded guy, we pulled over to he pulled us over. He was standing on the road, pulled us over. And we walked back there and he goes, I want to put a dream on your bus. Like I looked you at. And I had all of this on video. And I just saw this video yesterday because I was going through some old stuff. And at that moment, this big burly guy with the beard, and Troy was talking to him about, man, you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose. You have this amazing inside of you. What are your dreams? And this guy started crying. And I was like, I'm thinking we're going to be murdered by this big bearded guy. And then like 10 minutes later, this guy's crying on the side of the road because he really was going through a tough spot. Yeah. And there's so many. We were just at Rise with Oola Festival in Vegas and collected over 4,000 dreams.
Wow.
And there's so many stories from there, so many stories from our first road trip up the PCH in California. But that one, just because I saw the video and it was very impactful for me because it was insight into my life, because I saw a bearded guy in a pickup truck pulling us up Alligator Alley. And I was like, instantly, you judge someone. And I was like, sure. I'm a judgmental person. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Everybody on Facebook Live, watch this guy. This is the guy who's going to, cause harm. And he ended up being one of the sweetest guys ever, just really going through a tough time.
And how true is that sometimes just by somebody, the way that they look, and you're not alone in that. I think we all are preconditioned to think certain things about certain people. So, and what a gift that was, and how cool that you recorded it so you have it to look back on and remember and remind yourself, this is why we're doing what we're doing. It's for the guy who is in the pickup truck, who is the sweetest guy ever. And what a gift that is, for sure. So and kind of going along with talking about, talking about how that we might see or perceive people. I mean, I don't think this has anything to do with it really, but how would you say your upbringing comes into play with who you are today, and how you were raised? I want to hear about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff real interesting on that. I actually just went through a personality profile of myself with a coach. Nice. And just really to understand who I am. And there's a real interesting thing that about 60% research shows that about 60% of who we are is how we were born, and about 40% is through nurture. And if I look at this like positive, my family calls it the happy gene that I got. It goes back to my grandpa on my mom's side, who everybody in my family goes, you are just like him, the way you talk, the way you interact, the way you smile, whatever. So a part of it is in your genetic makeup, right? But then there is a part of this 40% that you actually learn over time. And in that 40%, for sure, growing up on a farm in the Midwest in a small town, I learned hard work. I've learned integrity in that, for sure. I had an amazing family. I learned love to a point of like, I need too much of it. Like I need hugs all the time, which is embarrassing and crazy, but I had 4 sisters. And Adina, my wife, knows. She's like, she has to come and hug me every once in a while. So there's just things that you learn. Now, the other thing is, if you look at this and say 60% of my personality and who I am and how I interact is just wired in my DNA. 40% is something you've learned over time. You also have this ability to express genes differently and understand that 60%. So you can take that 60% and it's like, man, there's this one thing I know I got this because I have that negativity or I have that worry that someone else in my family has. You have to first be aware of that, and then you can work with that and start to say, man, there's just a different way I want to live this, and start to not express, that part of you, understanding that that's one of the traits you have. So yeah, I mean, I was raised to be a hardworking, adventurous person, and that's just really, that's who I became. I love it. Like I love how I was raised. I always say that I wish I could go back and have done more, because I love the world and love travel so much. And the first time I was on an airplane, I think I was like 24, because we didn't go anywhere. We grew up in a small town and we worked nonstop. Christmas, Easter, like birthdays. You just worked because it was a farm and I was the only son. So sometimes I wish I would have had like this different childhood of travel, but I think I appreciate it more now.
I think you probably do too, because of growing up, but did that work ethic that instilled in you, and the everything you have to do on a farm that some of our listeners understand and know, and some may not. But I think that has helped cultivate who you are today. I kind of was like, ooh, I want to hear what he says on this one, because I have been able to see you now, and the fact that you care about people, you like those hugs, and the four sisters definitely come into play there. So it's neat to see, and it's neat that you just did that test. I actually forgot that you did that when I wanted to ask you that. So very fun. But so Jared, 23 strong. I would love for our friends who are listening to hear a little bit about his story, because I know that his story has impacted you and Oola significantly. So can you share a little bit about Jared's story and 23 strong?
Yeah, I would definitely not be where I am today, and Oola wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be on this podcast without Jared. 100%. I had this idea of Oola a long time ago with Troy. I had the idea someday I want to turn it into a way to share with other people. And the reality is that when I was going through my divorce and bankruptcy and losing everything, my life was just terrible. I was going through a lot of stuff in that moment. But my nephew Jared, at 16, was diagnosed with cancer, right in the middle of my mess. About a year after I started kind of grinding through this mess, he was diagnosed with cancer. It gave me a new perspective on, my kids are healthy, so life's not that bad. I can manage what I'm going through, which is crazy that I needed that to put a different spin on what my life was, what I was going through in my life at that time. But after 2 years of getting better and getting worse and getting better, and this treatment and that treatment, after 2 years, he passed away. He was 18 years old. He passed away from cancer. And I remember a very, very, very long drive. The night I heard he passed away, driving from North Dakota, or from Salt Lake City back to North Dakota in the middle of the night with my kids. I really left that in the evening. I drove through the night to get back to my family. And I remember a lot of black sky, starry night, like thinking a lot about what I've learned in this process and what I've learned from him. But when I got to this little farm in the middle of nowhere, still one of my favorite places on earth, my sister and her husband's farm, family farm there, beautiful old house with a wraparound porch, the whole thing. It's beautiful. They fixed it up. But we got there, and my sister, who just lost her son, was obviously a disaster wreck. But she took me upstairs, and we sat on Jared's bed. And she pulled out a letter, and she goes, he wrote this letter when he found out he had cancer, came back, and he had to go down to Houston for treatment and couldn't go to college and all this stuff. And as I read that letter, in the middle of the letter, in the middle paragraph said, I'm grateful that God chose me for cancer, not my mom and dad. I'm grateful that God chose me for cancer and not my brothers or my sister. I'm grateful that God chose me for cancer, not my cousins, which are my kids. I'm grateful that God chose me for cancer and not my friends. And then the last sentence was, I'm grateful that God chose me for cancer to teach others how to be strong. And that completely changed everything in my life instantly, in that little tiny room in that farmhouse, like instant change in my life. And I was like, after the funeral, driving back home to Salt Lake City, where I lived at the time, I'm like, it's time to just share this. Like, it's time to share Oola. What I'm waiting for. Life is short. Life is precious.
Right.
I've been, little stressed out, going through a lot in my life, but who cares? I don't need to be, perfect to write this story and tell this story. I need to grab people where they are and take them on this journey. So it really led to the first book, which led to all of this, which really recently, within the last week, launching 23 Strong with Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence. He's extremely, he's a famous dude, but he has run 50, he's completed 50 Ironman in 50 states in 50 days. And then he did for 100, which is 100 Ironman in a row. And on day 101, when everybody would rest, he woke up and did another one for fun. And basically he's created this whole following of not teaching people about Ironman, but teaching people how to have a strong mindset to get through anything. And that we teamed up with him. He's a great friend of mine. We teamed up with him and created a program called 23 Strong There's 7 phases of 23 strong and some surprises, but 7 phases of 23 strong. And it's based on my nephew, but also a lot of the training is based on James's training, mental training, to be able to do what he's done. And there's 3 elements to his training that are just so important. One is actually learning new skills to be mentally tough and strong to achieve your goals and live your Oola life. The second one is to go through habit training, do something every single day for this whole 23 days. And then the other one is stretch actions is what we call it. And it's something to just shake you up every morning. In your phone, it buzzes, and there's something you need to do. And you know, whether it's a mind challenge or a body challenge, you have to figure out how to make that happen that day, just to really push you. And it's an incredible program. Just launched a week ago, so I'm proud of that. And I know for a fact, I really, while we were building this, I spent a lot of time with my sister, Jared's mom. Yeah, sending her videos, sending her ideas. She helped put a lot of this together. Some of the challenges and action steps she worked with the Iron Cowboy on and put it all together. And it's just super cool. It's a great program.
It is a great program. I have been doing it for the last couple of days since it launched. And this morning I chose, you know, you can choose the different levels that you come in at. And knowing my bandwidth, I actually chose the easier route, but I did the mind and the body. And where I was doing wall squats and some jumping jacks the other day, today was, you know, tell yourself something positive about yourself. And I won't give away any more than that with, but I was just like, oh, well, yeah, there we go. In my affirmations, I can do that for sure.
Like, it's easy. I'm beautiful and smart, and I can do that all day long. It's okay. Way easier than wall squats.
Yeah, that's not. It's a little different. And my son did those with me. I know I told you the story, but I didn't make him do them alone for me. I did them with him.
That's good.
But I loved what you had said just a moment ago, is that when you were driving back, you know, it did take something big for you to realize, but you acted on this experience that you had. You acted on it, and you said to yourself, you know, don't wait, take action. You know, just the world needs this, and you have been able to honor your nephew hugely with how that you have created Oola, and look where it is today. It's literally gone around the world to impact people's lives in a positive way, and it's spreading, and it's, you know, everybody in the world is going to get to hear about it over time. And that's why we have the Oola Army, the people that are spreading Oola, which is so great. So this is truly, it's a movement. It's a life change. It's a positive movement, which has been so fun to be a part of and to experience, but also to promote as well. So it's an honor to work alongside you with this too. So, you know, and you're called the OolaSeeker. Before we wrap it up here, you know, you're called the OolaSeeker. What does OolaSeeker mean to you? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, it's really a character. When we sat down and wrote the first book, this is no one probably knows this. This is really funny. I was just going through old stuff, and when we sat down and wrote the first book, Oola. I was at Troy's cabin, and we sat down, and we just started writing out this framework. There's 7 key areas of life. There's 3 simple steps: where you are today, where you want to go, how are you going to get there. There's 7 things that are going to get in the way, called road blockers, that we changed to Oola blockers in the book. And there's 7 things that are going to help move you forward, like gratitude, passion, love, wisdom, integrity, called accelerators, which are called Oola accelerators. But when we first sat down to write the book, I just said, Troy, you're the OolaGuru, because he taught me Oola. He lived Oola. He retired at 42, debt-free, married to he lived Oola. Right. And then he said, I'll be the Oola master. I don't know if you know this. I'm like, that was my superpower. I'm going to be the Oola master, and I'm going to master this thing called Oola over time. And as we started writing the book, I'm like, I'm the OolaSeeker. I'm seeking. I don't even have it. I mean, I'm living in like a condo with 5 kids, and you know, just really just trying to figure out my life and figure out my career and my faith walk and everything. So that's how I became the OolaSeeker. Is like, I'm seeking Oola, and ironically, it's been the best name for me, because it's truly who I am, and it's been able to connect with other people, because most people are seeking Oola, a better life, a more balanced life, like everybody is. And not a lot of people can say, I'm the guru, I have it perfect. And even Troy says, you know, tongue in cheek on that, because he's going through stuff all the time as well, like, you know, family and life and business and all of those things as he's navigating life. But he's the OolaGuru, I'm the OolaSeeker. I'm glad I got the name. And it happened like that. I was the Oola master for the first 3 chapters, and went back to OolaSeeker. So luckily I changed that for sure.
And I think people really can relate to the OolaSeeker because we're all seeking, but we also need a guru in our life to keep us on track. But then I know that sometimes the seeker, just like the student becomes a teacher, I know that you've helped encourage him to get out of his comfort zone, to have more fun in life, to go back to work. You said where you challenged him in a good way, and so I think being the seeker has definitely had its advantages as well. So
yeah, 100%. I'll say seeker. I got that role dialed.
There we go. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else that you would share with our friends listening today, that any last bits of wisdom or encouragements or challenges before we head out?
I'm going to go off of what you were just saying a little bit ago about why do we wait? Why does it take something drastic or something big to make us take action, to help us take action? I was talking to a guy last night, really close personal friend of mine, known him forever. He's going through a divorce. And he's right in the middle of all the pain. And he said, I don't know, we've been going through so much hard stuff the last 6 months, and I started getting in shape, and I'm doing the dishes now, and I'm really trying to help out. I'm like, dude, where were you for the last 17 years doing the dishes and getting in shape and take care of yourself? It's so true. It's so many times we have to have something drastic happen in our lives to start to create that change. And for me, I went through a divorce, and then Jared passing away. I had 2 smacks in the face, 2 wake-up calls to go do what you're designed to do. And that would be my biggest encouragement to all of you. And then purely, I think the bus does that. I mean, the bus is emotional for people on the side of the road at a donut shop or wherever we are. It can be that thing that sparks that change, the catalyst that creates that one moment where someone says, okay, I'm done waiting. I'm getting out of this abusive marriage, or I'm going to fix my marriage, whatever they decide when they're standing in front of the bus. But we see a lot of tears and we see those moments. And I'm hoping that the bus is that's that punch in the face type of thing. But don't wait for that. I mean, if you can look at your life right now and say, I'm in my marriage, but I'm not really working on it. I should step it up. I'm working through life and I'm not taking care of my body. Start taking care of your body. I had this dream of this business I've always wanted to start, but I don't have the courage. I'm afraid. Just start it. Just go, because man, time is like that. It's just so fast. 10 years, Oola, 10 years old. Crazy.
Wow. We just talked about that. Yeah. My son turned 10 right before the day before the 10-year anniversary of Oola. So, it's so cool how all those things come into alignment. But yeah, don't wait. Start today with whatever you've been feeling, whatever has been put on your heart, whatever you've been wanting to do. And it can be sloppy and it can be messy, and it doesn't have to be perfect out of the gate, because you'll find tuning it as you go, which is so powerful. But thank you so much, Dr. Dave. For those of you listening, if you want to know more about Oola and how to find more balance in your own life, feel free to reach out to me directly, Instagram or Facebook, and Sharon at Sharon Davenport _ for Instagram. It's been a privilege to work alongside Dave and Troy in the last several years, and it would be an honor to help you on your Oola journey too. Again, thank you so much, Dave, and for joining us. And guys, we'll be back with our next amazing modern day superhero in 2 weeks, around 2 weeks. Until then, and as always, go use your unique superpower to change someone's life for the better today. Thank you again, Dave. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.